Thank you. Well, good morning. It's time for another deacon update, and I'm the deacon here today. So, have anybody ever wondered how we select the agencies that we financially support? How do you do that? Good question. Well, we look for an agency that has Christian values and runs a ministry that we, as a single congregation, cannot operate by ourselves. And the deacons make decisions that go to the session, and the session makes the final decision on whether we are going to support that agency or not. Now, the 4 agencies that we currently support, we have been supporting for a long time, since before I was a deacon. So I don't know how those connections started, but we do monitor them annually to make sure that they are still holding to the values that we looked for when we brought them on. So that's it. Absolutely.
Through the process of making those selections, we have a set of criteria that the session has established that we put any paraministry through to make sure that it fits the criteria that we expect for the kinds of ministries that we support. I don't recall off the top of my head what those 4 criteria are, but it is something that we established as a session to make sure that the kinds of ministries we're supporting fit the kinds of things that we expect to see from them. And they're not competing with a church or anything along those lines. So if you want more information about what those 4 criteria are, we can quickly get that for you, but I just don't have it on the top of my head.
Thank you, Scott.
Just have a question. What are some of the ministries that the deacons support? Okay,
we support 4 ministries right now, and probably most of you know who they are. The Dayton Gospel Mission that we support financially and also support with volunteers on serving dinners. The Hope is Rising women's ministry that Jim works for. The Shepherd's Crook, which we're going to be talking about today, and Elizabeth's New Life Center, which is also a crisis pregnancy organization. And both of those organizations do other work other than crisis pregnancy. They try to work with the entire family, bring the husbands into the midst, and have strong marriages. So they are the 4. Well, sure.
Thanks. What I wanted to add is many years ago, when we looked at the way that we would sponsor different programs, we knew that a lot of the work of the diaconate was reactionary. So people come and say, we need help, and then you would help them. We were looking for ways that we could be proactive as well, reaching out to the community so that we could do like what was established when the deacons were stood up in Acts, and see people brought in, leading that outreach from a help specifically that people need physically, so that they would want to come to the church and hear the gospel. So that's where, some of the criteria that Scott was talking about came from, and also these ministries, why we chose some of them. And it's not just that we want to contribute money, but it's a way for the deacons to lead the congregation in areas where we should be thinking about, seriously, how do we give of our time and our talents to bless people in these specific situations of need. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, today I'm going to be talking about the Shepherd's Crook. And in the case of the Shepherd's Crook orphanage ministry, in the Bible, we are directed to care for widows and orphans. So this fits in very well because the Shepherd's Crook was started in the Cincinnati area by a married couple in 2002. They have 4 biological children, and over the years, they have adopted 19 children. And 2 of their biological children have special needs. So most of the children that the Shepherd's Crook works with have special needs. But they are not an adoption agency. They are an advocate for the children, and they work with agencies and orphanages all around the world. And their job is to pair up children that are looking for adoption and families who can adopt them. And they assist with the adoption process, the transition process, and also the living in once the children are adopted, getting acclimated to their new forever family. And if you would like to learn anything else, they do have a website you can go to. They have a weekly podcast, and they have a weekly newsletter that we get through Mike as a donor to them. So we know exactly what they're doing at all times. So that review that I mentioned is really going on constantly. Are there any questions on? Okay. Changing gears a little bit. We have 2 opportunities this week to serve the Dayton Gospel Mission. We have a Saturday lunch, and we have our normal Thursday dinner. If you can make either one, please let me know, because Sunday is when I try to finalize the crew, because Pastor Ken calls or emails me during the week to see how many volunteers we're going to have for that day or evening or whenever it is. And also, if you have not filled out a deacon survey, please do so. They are very helpful for us and hopefully for you. If you have any need of the services that are included in the survey, see one of us, and we can try and match you up with someone that has expertise in that particular area. And that's all I have. Yes, Lori.
I haven't asked this before, but is the Dayton Gospel Mission, do they allow children to serve as well, or do they have to be a certain age?
Yes, they are a registered restaurant, so the children have to be 14 or over. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you, and hope to see you Thursday evening.